There were only 167 screaming yellow Terminator Cobra convertibles produced in 2004, and this was one of them. Unfortunately, the owner of this car decided for whatever reason they wanted to part the car out, and it could have been somewhat higher miles. I think it had around 80,000. We'll see it here on the odometer. But a friend of mine sent this in and said, "Can you believe another one is gone?" It's really sad when people decide that they want to. Yeah, 86,000. They want to get rid of these cars, and they think, the drivetrain's worth 10,000, and so they think it's easier to sell that and then sell the parts. And we've been over this. Is it really worth your time to part out a car and haggle and hassle with people and do all the work to take all these parts off? It's like a full-time job, and you're ruining a car, so I'm against that. Now, some cars say, well, I've got title issues. Some cars, the bank's looking for it, so they want to part it out and get all the money they can out of it. I'm not saying that's the case in this situation, but there's reasons why people do part these cars out, and I think it's sad if the car is straight and it's just a matter of someone trying to get more money out of it by parting it out. So here's some of the car. Doesn't look like it's wrecked unless the other side was completely mangled, but I don't think that was the case. So if you know anything about this car, bought parts from it or anything, you can put that in the comments and let us know. But it's really a shame to see a dream car like this get parted out, most likely just for the money. So maybe it was a flood car and doesn't run anymore. Maybe it has weird title issues and they can't register it anymore. There's always something like that, and some people have left comments of legitimate reasons like that why they couldn't put the car back on the road. But I think a lot of people realize that the parts on these cars are worth so much money, so they feel like if it's in the higher mileage range, they'd rather part it out and get the money. So it's kind of sad, but I wanted to document the car, show pictures of it, because these might be the last pictures we'll ever see of this car. So I did notice that the mirrors were incorrect on this car. They're not the folding Cobra mirrors or export mirrors. They're the all black ones. So that was kind of interesting to see. Sometimes if you see things like that, then it might lead to believe that it was not really a Cobra to begin with. The side skirts usually aren't changed, and the mirrors and the harder to find parts. But I think it probably was a real one, looking at the drivetrain and everything. The engine bay did look like it was clear coated as well, so that's probably the best way to tell. Also, it looks like this is a Terminator Cobra convertible top. They were different than the GT and V6 cars. But looking at this car, it's like, man, that's a beautiful looking bright car, bright yellow. Looked like a very fun car, so it's really too bad to see it parted out like that. Now, some people will say, well, if you like it so much, then why don't you buy it? Well, I have several cars. I can't really have another one here. I don't have anywhere to put it. I love these cars. I think there's plenty of people who see the Terminator Cobra as a dream car and would love to have one day. And this is taking that chance away from future generations and people who might be able to get one later. And if they're having a hard time selling it, then they need to drop the price on the car. But that's where the whole argument comes in. They say, well, if I can't sell it for a higher price of what they think it's worth, then they'll part it out and they have no problem doing so. And that's their right and their choice. You can't argue against that. It's their car. They can light it on fire if they want to. It's up to them. It's just really too bad. If they were really a Mustang enthusiast, they wouldn't do that to a car like this. There's definitely plenty of parts to be sold off this car worth some money. We go through the list: IRS, wheels, back bumper, side skirts, trunk lid, front bumper, seats, blower swap, T56, long block, Borla catback, Cobra airbag, cluster, computer, side scoops, radiator, brakes. There's just a lot of stuff on here: steering wheel, steering rack, and it's obviously going to have a lot of parts that are nice. And by the list of all those things we went over, it probably proves that the car was not wrecked or had a blown up engine or anything, because those are all good parts that they were selling. So anyway, really unfortunate. Good to get some pictures of this car before it's gone forever. The parts will live on other cars, but it's really sad to see a real one of 167 convertible Terminator Cobra in screaming yellow be parted out. I think this is like the old days when people would part out a Boss 302 or a Boss 429 or something really neat and rare, and then later down the road people will say, why did they do that? So remember to check out the rest of my videos. I have a lot of Mustang stories and lots of cars like this that have been documented over the years. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for more Mustang content.